Welcome, Markus, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you. I'm talking now again from Omnium Gatherum, well, now this new EP, Slasher, and what is related to the metal. Where we're starting, I think, with a common question: how has band been during these last 2 years? Because your last album, Origin, was released 2 years ago. Now we have a new EP. So you told me that you are doing a lot of gigs a few minutes ago. So
yeah, it's Origin album was the previous album we released, and it was released in the middle of pandemic, so it took a while to get the release back on the road. But now we're in full hustle mode. So just finished a really great North American tour. We toured there with Eluveidy and Seven Spires. So, and we just played Norway, and now it's festival summer starting, so it's all good. Busy and playing gigs. That's how it should be. That's why we are existing, because we love to play live.
Yeah, you are very busy, very busy, because this year you are releasing a new EP with Omnium Gatherum. A few months ago you are releasing the last album with Omnium. Last year you releasing a new band with I Am the Night. So you have a lot of the schedule, a lot of bands. So how do you deal with the short times? Because it's very difficult for one musician play black, two bands that like in the same vein, melodic death metal, etc.
Well, we already also started play gigs with this black metal band I Am the Night too. So even that wasn't like a thing at all, but somehow it was too fun. So that's also in the pipeline, and there's also a fourth new band in the works. We already started recording the album. It's not, the band is not yet published for the public, but like it will be announced this summer, and it's going to be a cool thing too. So, but this is what I do. I love making music, playing music, and that's all I do. It's my job and my passion. So, and somehow I don't know where I find the time to do it, because I also do a lot of other stuff, but like, I don't know how other people do it, but for me, it's always been quite easy.
Okay, nice. Other aspects about about your career playing in a lot of bands is one band that I found during the last interview. Is the band is named Gore Penetration, a band like the lean down to the gore or death metal, more death rock stuff. And I saw that you released 2 albums with them. But then the band disappears completely, and I think both albums for Gore Presentation never released in CD, because I tried to find the albums to buy it because I really like it, and I didn't find it. So perhaps someday with a lot of busy works, 4 bands now, you told me a lot of releases, a lot of gigs, Gore Presentation will be back, because we are returning in the cyclic time. The all lost jewels and time are revival.
That was funny you found and mentioned Gore Penetration. I didn't even remember the band. It's 20 years ago. We did some like a gore cried in the vein of Cannibal Corpse and technical death metal, and we did like 2 albums. We were signed to some like really small UK label, and I don't know how many CDs they made. Probably printed like 7 CDs. But that was just a fun project with OG drummer and OG bass player back in time. We were also playing in the band and a few other friends. So it was just a fun project. We played 2 gigs, and that was it.
Okay.
It's all. I've always been in many bands at the same times, because it's a good therapy also to have different kind of stuff going on at the moment, so you can kind of like outsource your thing and not do only one band, which my brain kind of needs it. So I always need like a time off from OG composing, and then I compose something other stuff, and kind of empty my tank, and need some time off from whatever Omnium Gatherum or Insomnium, and then I'm already in full OG mode to do more. So that's my way. That's because I'm crazy.
No, but if I relate all your projects are different, because I Am the Night's more black metal band, Insomnium is melodic death metal. For me, Omnium Gathering, as I told you all in the interview that we had 2 years ago, is more like you influence a lot of hard rock, heavy metal. The guttural parts is like most death metal parts that enter in the music. It's more focused in other kind of style. And with gore penetration, as you told me, is more kind of course staff, technical. It's very different. So you have a mind for all these kind of projects. Very different.
Yeah, it kind of reflects my own musical taste because I'm a music collector and a huge music nerd myself, and I listen to many different kinds of music, not only metal music. And I love in metal field, I love everything like from black metal to power metal and adult oriented rock and progressive music and synthwave and electronic music. So I love music in a large scale. So maybe that's why I always have to have some exploring and adventures with new projects and new bands just to keep myself entertained.
Okay. Okay, well, you told me you told me that the origin was composed and written before the pandemic. So it's and delay for the process of this compos of the pandemic, etc. Delay years to release it. But now Slasher is I think is a production composed during and the last years of the pandemic. And related to this, talking about the aspect that the musician all the time related their external and internal emotions. So perhaps we say that this EP composed during the pandemic and has the influence of the old environment that we lived 3 years ago.
Well, half of Slasher EP is old material, which was already recorded in the origin sessions.
Okay.
But we wanted to drop these songs away from the origin because they kind of didn't fit the entirety. And then we decided to keep them as a later release. First, it was thought to release as a digital singles. So those are already 2-year-old songs. And Slasher, that's the most newest OG song which I've wrote. So that kind of reflects more like the nowadays moment in Omnium Gatherum camp, and it's more like it's composed like after pandemic, so it's already we survived this dark medieval ages of pandemic, so it's kind of hopeful song, and then it's a bit more faster song than the origin songs because the stuff in origin was more like mid-tempo stuff because we wanted to do that kind of mid-tempo pop death metal album. So it's again more faster live song and it works really well on live shows. We already played it on US tour and people loved it. And also the cover song we did for Maniac, that's also a bit more like this 80s side of OG because origin kind of was hinting a lot of with the 80s music, and then because we love this old 80s music and we are 80s kids, so that's kind of stuff we used to hear when we were kids, and we still love that kind of music, and it somehow like sounded like Omnium Gatherum song. So all the Omnium Gatherum melodies and trademarks were there, so we just wanted to arrange it to the OG mode. So and here we are. And also the thing with those two new songs, Maniac and Slasher, was to show off for the world our new guitarist Nick Cordell, who's been already over a year in the band. So we kind of needed to get something out with Nick on board.
Okay. So now you have this new EP with 4 songs and one with 3 songs and 1 cover into this EP. So can you talk about the prelude to the next Omnium Gatherum album this year or perhaps next? Or because usually these songs are composed with the idea of releasing a new album. You told me that some songs are from the origin area, but perhaps with the Slasher song, you are preparing new material for the new album next year. Who knows?
Well, that's in the pipeline because we kind of wanted to release the EP just to like a reminder that we are still here, because the not so good things on modern world is like the attention span for the people is like shorter than ever. Like people with internet and all the social medias, people are like waiting to get every day is like some new music, which is crazy. It's really busy world we are living at the moment. So that's kind of, we needed to release something in between albums, because Origin is already, we made it already 1.5 years ago, so it starts to be quite an old album. But at the same time, also during the 2 years of pandemic and lockdown, I composed so big amount of music, like Origin from Omnium Gatherum came out, Insomnium's new album and new EP was made by then. Then the black metal album of I Am the Night, the whole album of this new gothic band, which is coming later out this year. So I kind of like made 4 albums of music during the pandemic year. So I really needed to catch my breath and just not doing composing music for a while. So that's why it's also that we released some older songs of OG, and just like now it's time to start the OG material period. Like I'm really ready to start composing new music, and because I've had my time off from doing music at home. We played a lot of gigs lately, and so now I feel like now I'm again ready to start working on some new music.
Okay. Oh, in times when many styles are going back in time, and now we have this idea of making things shorter, so that's why our singles are taking a new hit on a promotional level. So where does this EP fit in? Because with short productions, are releasing 2 or 3 singles to promote the EP, we already taken about almost the content of that EP. So how can you choose the singles in a short production?
Well, the Slasher was the newest song, and it's having a really blazing guitar solo by Nick Cordell, and that was like the track where we wanted to like welcome Nick to the band. So that was easy to pick up that song. And Maniac was also the second new recording, so that's why we released those first. And it's kind of like this digital streaming service like Spotify and Tidal and Apple Music. It's more like a music business and label things like that. You have to release like a lot of singles, and the physical release is coming later on. And that's what I love. I kind of like the idea of EP, because back in 90s there was like a lot of great vinyl EP releases that I loved, like Tools of the Trade by Carcass, or Entombed Crawl, or whatever, Emperor mini LP, the first one, and Amorphis Black Winter Day, and Trooper and Love and Death by Sentenced. And bands did like a lot of these kind of EP releases between the albums. So that's the point that I love as a music collector, that they kind of like give something between the album cycles, and you never know, are they connected to the next release or is it something completely different?
Okay. Other aspects, as you told me that when you are listening not just metal, but all your projects are related to the metal stuff. And perhaps as you are a composer of many styles, did you think about to get out of your comfort zone and create perhaps a blues band, a jazz band, or very far from the metal scene?
Definitely not jazz. Jazz is not my cup of tea. Blues would be more my cup of tea, but not at the moment. I like many different kind of music, but metal is the most important music for me. And as a musician, I can play a lot of different kinds of music, but metal is like that's me. That's my corner in music. So I don't see myself any reason at the moment. You never know what you are doing in the future, but at the moment I don't have any need to do anything except these metal albums. Then the new band, I was saying, it's not melodic death metal and it's not black metal, so there's no growls at all. So in my perspective, that's more pop. So it's already something completely different, even it's metal. So, but if I would do something outside metal, it would probably be like electronic music where there's no guitar at all, like some synthwave or stuff. Or then it would be something like really mellow, like Anathema, newer Anathema, like
more acoustic, like
moody mellow and acoustic stuff. Yeah.
It's very, very curious that you say, because a lot of musicians around the world, when try to do a different kind of music, far away from the metal, far away from the rock, always try to lean down to the industrial, to electronic. So what in this aspect, why all musicians see this no see this new well see this style as a new potential aspect to create music, the electronic and industrial?
Well, maybe because I am a guitarist at first.
Mm.
So compared to synthesizer is so fascinating instrument because there's so much different kind of sounds and stuff you can do with synthesizers. Maybe it's easy to adventure with electronic music because you can easily do it at home and you can have all the different sounds of the world in your laptop. So it's kind of easy world to dive in, and it's really fascinating because in electronic music you have so much different kind of samples you can do, completely so much different kind of stuff. Whatever it can be, like Hans Zimmer kind of movie music, or then it can industrial noise, or then 80s synthwave or whatever. So it's kind of, I don't know. That's a good question, but I don't have another answer except this.
Okay. Well, we are talking about other aspects, especially in the music. As you can know, now the artificial intelligence is more related with the world, because and more related to the world, because this issue has a huge impact into the world, creating arts, music, different kind of things are creating thanks to the artificial intelligence or AI, and it's more accessible for everyone with Chat GPT and other things. So, what is your perspective about this issue, the AI, and do you see yourself using it to make a cover art, for example, or even asking to AI to compose something for you?
Well, I'm kind of stubborn old guy. I like vinyls, and I like old cars with VH engine, and I like cash money. So I don't see myself be really happy about artificial intelligence, because I kind of like the real deal. I like the people's like doing all the stuff and the music, and I don't know, it's a hard question, but it's a really scary idea that artificial intelligence would be, and it will be, because of course that's the future. But again, like so many people will quit doing art and then just like rely on computer doing all the stuff. So isn't it that quite boring idea that people are getting more stupid and more lazy all the time because they always like rely on computers on everything? So that's kind of like how you will lost a lot of kind of like new evolution of Finnish, not Finnish, like a people's culture, if like machines are doing it. So it's just it's kind of weird utopia that we are heading to.
Okay.
And it's with the Terminator 2, you know, Skynet. Back 30 years ago, it felt like this is stupid utopia, which will never happen. But we are not that far away anymore.
Yeah, we are not that
from
far away.
Skynet taking over the world. And
all people,
that's not a joke
people,
anymore.
Yeah. All people from the 80s things like that. So Skynet will dominate the world. Yeah. Well, and when
It's
you
like
tell me that you are a great collector of music, you like the vinyl, this kind of, you are still hearing the vinyls. So in this aspect, as a collector, as a fan, which are your more precious vinyl that you got since your first time that you hear heavy metal until now? And did you listen until today the same vinyl as the same sensations that you got for the first time?
Probably my first two vinyls were Wasp, first Wasp album, and then Animalized by Kiss. And I still have those vinyls on myself, and I still listen to those. So maybe those are my most valuable. Of course, they are not like collector's items in that way. They are like originals, but it's not like some people are just collecting like this is the most money value LP. I'm not like that. I collect like music more than value of the records. Of course, I have Discogs, and it's a great fun sometimes to list all your stuff to Discogs and then check like, wow, that is. I just was blown away by my Typo Negative and In Flames like LP boxes, because their price have been going like way up already. So
Yeah.
it's always funny to see sometimes that happening. It's like good stock. Some people are buying stocks and checking the value, and some people are buying vinyls, and same kind of game if you are selling those. But as I'm saying, I'm a collector. I never sell. I just buy. So in that sense, the money value is not valid for me.
Okay. Well, we are very close to this interview, Markus. And for this aspect, what are the future plans that Omnium Gatherum has for this EP? Well, you told me that you will embark in a tours. That's normal, the normal. But perhaps with this new EP, you will come to Latin America. Who knows?
Well, yeah. Well, next is Festival Summer and European tour, and there's always been some talks lately to do like a Latin American tour. To be honest, I was just speaking with our manager. I was having a coffee meeting like with her like 3 hours ago, and I again mentioned the Latin America, that with the next release it would be really cool to do that finally, because I want to go there. I want to play there. I've never been in Latin America, not even as a tourist. Only Mexico is the most Latin America I've been. So it would be time to do that, but we'll see. We are trying our best.
Okay. Well, other aspects. Well, Markus, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me. You, as usually at the first time, you're a terrific guy. Love your band, love your 3 bands. So I hope someday we'll see Insomnium and or Omnium Gatherum here in Latin America, because you both great bands never play a full tour here in Latin America, just gigs going Insomnium, but Omnium Gatherum never play here in Latin America completely. So perhaps, do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and Metalerum followers?
I know that we haven't yet played there, and we would really want to play there, and eventually at some point, someday it will happen, hopefully in near future. And at the same time, I feel like missing out something, because I've been touring all over the world except like Latin America. I've been in Australia, Asia, North America, and Europe. So I feel like missing out, because all my friend bands have been touring Latin America and always saying like it's such a passionate fans and like crazy gigs there. So I need to come there.